Hello and good day. Check out my chickens. I haven't been too busy on the art front lately, as I've been doing some things around the house and I've had to share my art desk with the DIY projects. I have managed to do a few things just to get better organized for art though. I bought a 12-kilo bag of clay that was reasonably cheap, so this is my throwaway clay for test runs basically. It came recommended for making pinch pots, for carving clay and for slab building. It has nylon fibers in it to help reinforce it, and it does feel like a bit of a manly man clay, if I'm honest. I wanted to make some custom holders for future clay characters and some paintbrushes though. So to make the holders, I'm using the wooden spatula just to compact the clay into squares and rectangles, and then poking holes in the clay with kebab sticks so I have somewhere to store all the body parts as I make them up. This should be enough space to hold a few heads, feet, legs or whatever's as I work on them. There is a slight wobble because the clay contracted as it dried, but this should be fine for smaller items. The guy at the back is made with the same brand of clay as what I made Simon with. I just made something big and ganky to test how the headstands will work and also to use as a counterweight if needed. I've played around with this clay a little bit to see if it's anything close to the clay I made Simon with, and it's not really suitable for delicate work. I built up this little base by layering snakes of clay on top of each other and then blending it in to build up the walls. But this is as far as I could take the clay before it started to feel like it was just going to collapse in on itself. When you add water to it, the clay goes pretty soggy and then turns to mud. It also gets really sticky, so it just glues itself to everything when I try and roll it out. If I leave it to dry up a bit, it becomes too dry and not very flexible to work with, so I did try another face here, but the eyes got too mushy and lost their shape. The hair also ended up a bit of a flop. Overall, this guy's mother would have definitely dumped him outside the nest early on. I'll persist with the clay in making custom holders or functional things for art projects, but nothing fancy. I went on to making some chicken-shaped paintbrush holders. I started off with making pinch pots and then just bent the edges towards each other. The clay is a bit awkward to shape because it feels like there is too much moisture for it to be able to hold itself well. They may end up being the worst paintbrush holders known to man, but I guess I'll find out after they are dry. If they work well enough, I'll make a nicer pair with the fancy clay. I haven't done much more for clay as I've been enjoying the painting, but I also started another quick oil as a refresher exercise for me. I'm painting a horse's face and I want to get some practice in with the colours I'll be using, which are going to be raw umber, phthalo blue, Indian red and yellow ochre. I'll also use a little bit of buff titanium just for highlights on the eyes. I'm going to paint a black horse, so this one is going to be quite a dark painting, but I do have another horse that I'm going to be doing on a canvas, and that will be a lot more lighter in colour, using the same paints as I'm using here, just mixing them up differently. I thought that might just be interesting to see the difference. I start going over the lines that I need to be aware of with blue mixed with a little bit of raw umber and taupe, so it is really fluid. And I start to add in more raw umber as I go. I don't ever clean my brush, but as I work I'm bouncing between picking up more blue for the areas that need to be further back and then switching to red for areas that need to be a bit further forward. I do try to keep repositioning the camera to get better lighting, but it's just so hard because the paint is showing up really dark. At some angles it looks black and other angles it looks way too yellow or red. And then the brushes are also leaving a bit of a texture, so every little brush stroke is reflecting light and making it more awkward. Before we go any further, I also just want to get this in there like that. There we go. Okay, so moving on. I finish up by going over the face, so here I go back to using a lot of the blue and raw umber, and then using the yellow ochre for the mid-tone or highlight parts. In natural light, I'm just casting a shadow over the paper here, and you can see how pitch black the painting looks. But when I remove the shadow, the paper brightens up drastically. It is a bit of a nightmare to try and get the lighting so the colour is right, but then also to get it so that the light isn't reflecting off the brush strokes. This is probably the most accurate to what it looks like in real life, though, colour-wise. But yeah, I'm going to leave it at that, and then hopefully I will see you next time around. Bye.